Well, Lyle, it's a pleasure to be here, celebrating 45 years in the business. That's crazy. Back in 1976, July of 1976, you
Correct.
got into the business.
Yes, July 1976.
So tell me about the office then. I mean, it's got to be a little bit different than it is today.
Definitely, definitely very different. I guess it all started with that little bungalow on 11th Street on the corner of Stadium and 11th.
Yeah.
A little green bungalow, a 2-bedroom place, 4 agents there. Audrey DeVault was one, 3 other agents. And so at that point I was helping Chuck do, I was his handyman. You know, I would paint his car, paint his house, wax his car. I painted the ceiling in the little bungalow. So I was just kind of on the outskirts of what he was doing. So then they moved to another house going south, and then finally to the larger building there, and that's where I came on deck in 1976.
Wow. You want to hear the story? I was afraid to go in that bungalow because it didn't have a basement. It had a dirt floor in the basement.
Oh.
And I was scared. At that age, I was scared to
go down there.
To go down there.
Oh yeah. Well, I wonder what version I had there. I can relate to that. Yeah, but yeah, it was.
And what got you into the business? I mean, what was the reason you got in?
Chuck.
Really?
I mean, we were friends, for 55 years, and he was working with Equitable Life Insurance Company.
Yeah.
And I was working for him then. I would make phone calls for him.
Oh, okay.
He didn't enjoy the phone too much, but he noticed I had no problem with it. So I would call and make appointments for 5 1/4 mortgage money through Equitable. And I did appointments set up with doctors and dentists, and he thought that was great. And so I did that quite a bit. And he said, that's marvelous. You really got a lot of the ball here, Lyle. And I said, well, here we go. And so that's how I got involved in the business with Chuck. And he was actually grooming me for going into sales. And so we just worked together a lot. And then I joined the board finally in 1976.
Wow.
And so that was the beginning of working with Chuck and everything, all the principles. Little did I know he was going to be a legend.
Sure.
Actually, a legend, a future legend. And I thought the guy was pretty good. I mean, he was a lot of fun. He had a very alert mind. He was very people-oriented. Mm-hmm. And all these principles permeate throughout the firm today. No matter if you start with 4 agents or over 300 today,
yeah,
the same principles I see there. They haven't wavered.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it
After
is.
45 years that it's still,
Yes.
You still can sustain that.
That's right. It's amazing. And the friendship, the support from the staff, other agents, management, it's all there. It's a family. And like I talked to one of your newest Emily's, your name's Emily, this morning. She's been here 2 months. And I said, well, what attracted you? Because I wanted to get something ready to talk about. She said it was a reputation of Jaqua, and I lived in the community all this time. And as we all know, it's been a household name for all these years. And so that attracted me, and that's why I'm here. I said, and again, she'll be a fine agent.
Yeah.
Because there's something about the hiring process at Jaqua, it just seems very, very powerful. Somehow the right people are picked, and they're all kind of like the same family and willing to help, sensitive, alert. It's all wonderful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think you've learned over the years the most? I mean,
well, I've learned, it's always internal that I learned. I learned how important people are, no matter what you're selling. The camaraderie, the sensitivity, the willing to help, all these principles that Chuck naturally taught, is bringing everybody on, and still here.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, there's clients out there, but they're treated the same way, with respect. Always, doing respectful thing, like Chuck was known for taking his shoes off and he'd go in the house. or taking his coffee cup when he was done interviewing, putting it out in the kitchen. "Oh, Chuck," the seller would say, "You don't have to do that," or the buyer. "Oh no, that's fine. I can do that." When he drove up to Grand Rapids with Equitable, he delivered a policy, a life insurance policy, in the dead of winter. There was a blizzard. He went to Grand Rapids and back, and they lauded him forever for doing that. That he was driven.
It's funny, Lyle, I just did training, and Emily was in my training,
Huh?
and we were talking about listings and going out on listings, and we spent about 5 minutes talking about why you should take your shoes off at the
really?
door. So you bring that up,
That
and
is so funny.
we just went through that bullet point on the training of how
Yeah.
important it is to, so that even the little things live on.
The
Like
little
take this.
things live on. They're giant.
Yeah.
They are so giant. And writing, he would write a little thank you. I used to fill out cards of showings that he made, and he would send a little card out and say thank you for this and that, and it'd go out to them. That had big impact.
Yeah.
Huge impact, and that's being practiced today. But everything's so different now. We have different, devices.
Yeah.
And the only device we had was a phone and a postage stamp, and.
Hey, I don't know, not to put you on the spot,
no,
but
no.
do you remember the story about you sending a mailer and the lady held on to it for 18?
Oh yes. I can talk about Gladys Rhodes. Yeah, Gladys was a fine lady. She taught kindergarten for well over 20 years, probably 30 years at Central Elementary in Portage. And when I went into the business in July '76, of course, I sent out all these things that Chuck said, "You got to let everybody know you're in the business, Lyle." So I did that, and she received one, obviously. And she, bless her heart, she lived over on Nichols Road next to Westwood Elementary.
Mm-hmm.
And she called me one day, "Lyle?" I said, "Yes." "This is Gladys Rhodes. Are you still in real estate?" I said, "I didn't keep in touch all those years." "Yes, I am, Gladys." "Well, I want to sell my home. Could you come over and help me?" "Absolutely." So that's a big story too when you think about it. And so many agents remember that story. Jim Hess was one. He said, "I've never forgotten that. That's motivated me to no end to market my name and follow up and do things like that."
Yeah, because
it's a
it was
good story.
wasn't it like 17 years later that she
Yeah,
called
20,
it?
20 years.
20 years. So
Yes.
she held on to that mailer for
Until
20
96.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I went into the house, and being a teacher, she had a lot of things stacked in the rec room. Just, crayons, colors, projects from all the kindergarten students. And she said, "Well, what do you think of the rec room? It's nice, isn't it?" I said, "It's really glorious. I mean, it's very nice. Wonder if I could make a suggestion." I said, "There's a lot of stuff down here. I know you like it, but and it is a full basement. Isn't it? It's a full rec room, full." And so I said, "You mean I should get some of this out of here?" I said, "Yeah, great idea. That's kind of what I was warming up to." So a year later, she called me back and said, "Lyle, are you still selling real estate?" I said, "Yes." Said, "Well, I think I've got the rec room ready. Would you come over and take a look at it?" That was impeccable. She gave thanks to everybody in the world. And so to make a long story short, she's the one that at the closing, it was time to hand the keys over to the new buyers. And the loan officer said, "Okay, Gladys, you give her the keys." And she had it in her clutches of her fist. I said, "Gladys, I'm okay with that?" She had tears coming down her cheek. I said, "Oh no." The buyer, bless her heart, said, "Gladys, you can come over and visit anytime you want."
Oh, that's nice.
So there you go. People business.
Yep.
It's all people, right?
It is all people.
And that's what.
That's a wonderful story.
Yeah, but we were taught to be sensitive and caring, and it lives on. Yeah.
So if you had to, we had 14 brand new agents here that have been here less than a year.
Okay.
Less than a year.
Uh-huh.
And so if you had to pass on some knowledge, if you had to say, "Okay, I'm going to give Lyle the mic and say,
Uh-huh.
give some advice to these 14 brand new agents," what would you do? What advice would you give?
Okay, one bit of advice that I would give is to be treat people with respect. Treat clients with respect. Treat agents with respect. Respect. It's so important to let people, from that coffee cup story to the shoes, to a postcard. It's a caring people business. It's not, oh yeah, there's dot loop, there's cell phones, there's social media, but when you engage with people, really engage with them, I would say keep that ball rolling.
Yeah.
That'd be the number one thing. It runs the show. It really does.
Well, I want to congratulate you on
Yes.
on a wonderful 45 years.
Yes.
I know you were very close with my dad, and you've been
yes.
a close part of our family.
Oh yeah, the best of friends.
I know. I just want to thank you for your loyal support of the company, and the way that you've handled yourself is consistent with my dad, and
Yes.
it's fun to see that.
Yes.
Even though he's not here, his legacy lives on, and you're continuing
yes.
to do that as well.
Yes.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Thanks for having me.
And
Yes.
congratulations.